Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the Impact Review for the December 1st, 2020. And, really a throwaway show, if we're completely honest. There's nothing on the show that is overtly awful, but at the same time, if you missed the show, there's not a lot you really missed. Still, they had more cohesive storyline development than the WWE Raw show did. So, credit to Impact for at least putting on stories that matter, even if I don't necessarily agree with all the talent they use or how they're being used. Opening recap brings about the conclusion of the Johnny Bravo investigation. Rich Swann defending the title against Ken Shamrock from last week, and the attack on Eddie Edwards by Callahan and Shamrock. Motor City Machine Guns, Sabin and Shelley against Triple XL, Ace Romero and Larry D. The re-injury of Alex Shelley is put as a statement that they're serious about the tag team division, they being Triple XL. Last week, Shelley announced that he's cleared to return, and here he is. So, Speed versus Power Styles Clash match. Motor City Machine Guns have an early advantage. They display why they're former tag team champions multi-time over. Action is good throughout. Dives by the smaller guys. Power by the larger. Triple XL cut off Shelley and work him over for a few minutes before Sabin gets the hot tag. Both teams get a chance to do the back and forth thing. They both hit some double team moves. Machine Guns hit the Skulls and Bones for the win. Good for them. Shelley and Sabin can go to, continue the feud or go back toward the tag team championships. Obviously, Triple XL not happy with the loss. Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne run down the rest of tonight's card. Madison and Rayne are still better than anyone on the WWE announced roster at the moment. Anyway, we see Callahan and Ken Shamrock arrive at the arena. D'Amore sends security out to greet them. D'Amore tells Shamrock that he's been suspended for attacking an official last week when he took out D'Lo Brown. Johnny Bravo confronts Larry D about shooting him. D attacks Bravo. Tommy Dreamer intervenes, and Dreamer tries to get Larry D to deal with Bravo instead of D taking Dreamer out. Jordana Grace and Jazz defeat Killer Kelly and Renee Michelle in a knockouts tag match. Renee Michelle makes her in-ring debut for the company tonight. Killer Kelly took a loss last week against Kimber Lee. Jazz makes her return last week, announcing that she will team up with Grace and wants to retire as a champion. Michelle and Kelly look good for their experience level. And then Grace versus Kelly is basically teased for the future in a one-on-one program. Jazz is portrayed as dominant when she's given the opportunity to be. Grace gets cut off from her corner. The newcomers beat her down. She makes a short comeback. Jazz tagged in and goes nuts against all of her competition. Michelle hits Kelly or saves Kelly from getting pinned after Grace Driver, and she tags in and takes an X Factor by Jazz for the pin. Match was fine. It's more about teasing the future of the women's division. Match was a little slow at times, but with Jazz in there, that's to be expected. Jazz and Jordana Grace advance in the tournament and will be wrestling Havoc and Nevaeh in the semifinal. Impact plus Flashback have the Motor City Machine Guns and Generation Me in a Full Metal Mayhem match from 10 years ago. I bet Impact feels dumb now for letting the Bucks go. I mean, they are part of the largest growing company in wrestling history in the last 20 to 30 years. Anyway, Ethan Page cuts a promo saying that everyone likes giving him trouble, and he's accepted that he's the one that took out Doc Gallows. He challenges Anderson to a match at Final Resolution, and if he wins, he and Josh Alexander get a shot at the tag titles. Good promo from Ethan Page. I hope he's finishing up, honestly. I think he deserves to be in bigger and better, and I don't think that his star will shine as big as it can in an Impact environment. So, backstage, Alicia Edwards is waiting for Sami Callihan and Tennille Dashwood and Caleb LeKay. They're trying to talk to her. Edwards has her focus on Callihan, who she attacked as soon as he walked in. Edwards is pulled off of him by security, and Dashwood and Caleb walk away. I mean, she's defending her husband. That makes sense. Johnny Swinger and Cody Deaner with Cousin Jake ends in a no contest. This doesn't need to be here. Mid-card match gets interrupted, in this case by Eric Young and Joe Doring. Swinger tries to make friends with Doring, but it doesn't happen. Young said that this will continue until we learn that the world belongs to them. I assume this means a stable of some sort will form, probably beginning at Final Resolution to take better shape, or in the new year. Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly approach Father James Mitchell and ask if he has taken care of Su Yung. Mitchell says these things take time, and he didn't even know where Su Yung was. And Purrazzo said she knows how to find her. Backstage, the Deaners are talking in the locker room about having to do something about Young and Doring. Cody Deaner said that we have a problem, and he's got to do something about Eric Young next week. Purrazzo and Lee come down to the ring, call out Su Yung, and she wanted her contractual rematch. And Father James Mitchell comes out once Su Yung is out there. Mitchell cuts a promo on Young saying that she had been a thorn in his side for too long. Tonight she'll pay for her sins. Lots of iconic type stuff. Mitchell summons the bridesmaid, and they surround the ring. Purrazzo and Lee couldn't wait and attack Su Yung, leaving her for the bridesmaids to take her away. This is kind of goofy. Moose approaches Chris Bay to talk about Bay's tactics and the opportunity of getting himself a world title match. Moose says to Bay that if he were to win, Moose would take the title from him. Gia Miller interviews Carl Anderson about the Ethan Page challenge. Anderson, no brainer here, accepts, and he wants revenge for what was done to Gallows. X Division champion Rohit Raju defeats Crazy Steve to retain his title. Match was basically a clash of styles. Raju does a lot of stalling and trouble and countering. Steve's style seems to be difficult. He cuts him off, though, and keeps him down with kicks and knees and other strikes. He focuses on Steve's arm. Eventually, Steve makes a power comeback and locks in the Koji clutch, which is ridiculous. Does everyone have to use this move now on every promotion? Anyway, soon after, Raju scores a roll-up, grabs the ropes, gets a cheesy win, and that is not good for Crazy Steve. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steele reveal that they still have Hernandez's money. Falaba approaches them, and then Hogan and Steele pretend they didn't have it. Bala said he went back and watched the show. Hogan and Steele accept that they indeed have stolen the money. They said they didn't have the money, but they'd give it to him next week. And this story gets worse and worse. TJP approaches Crazy Steve. Once again, Brian Myers walks by and makes fun of them both. TJP challenges Myers to a match next week. That could be good. Matthews and Rain announced that next week's matches include Eric Young versus Cody Deaner. Meh. Brian Myers and TJP. Good match. Josh Alexander versus Chris Sabin. And Deanna Purrazzo and Kimberly versus Taya and Rosemary in a knockout tag team tournament match. Your main event, which is just sad, Willie Mack defeats Chris Bay. Chris Bay has been trying to get a title shot at Rich Swann. It's not coming together for him. Last week he happened to talk trash about Willie Mack, and here we are. Bay works over Mack's leg for the first several minutes. I don't get Mack, so honestly, him being in a main event slot confuses me. He gets caught with a low drop kick. Mack is in between the ropes and the apron. Bay dominates most of the match, and with the exception of a couple small mini comebacks, the finish comes out of nowhere. Bay goes for his finish. Mack blocks it, hits a pop-up forearm, and lands a stunner for the win. It doesn't really make sense unless maybe they're going to do Willie Mack and Swann at some point. And I don't know where they're going. Post-match, Moose comes out and hits the lights out on Mack, which brings out Rich Swann, who runs Moose off. Chris Bay jumps in with the art of finesse and takes out Swann. Bay posed with the belt as the show goes off the air. Again, some non-sequential stuff, but at the same time, at least you know the characters and they're trying to move them forward. That's more than Raw does most weeks these days. In any event, we'll be back with more right after this.